So late last year, I decided I wanted to sell off my modern Pokemon card collection, and I ended up testing out Fanatics Collect. So far I've sold about 20 cards successfully, and I have 40 listings up at the time I'm making this video. Most of what I've sold or put up for sale is Sword and Shield era top-end cards, a couple of PSA 10 Moonbryons, but there's some other older and newer cards mixed in with there as well. I want to share my thoughts on the experience so far. I also saw there isn't really a Pokemon-focused review of Fanatics Collect on YouTube, so that's what this video is about. We're going to look at Fanatics, talk about what I thought was good, what was bad about selling on there, and give them a letter grade based on my experience. I'll give them a fair shake just like I did when I tested out grading cards at GameStop and AGS, these videos. But first off, why am I selling my modern stuff? As I get older, I find myself wanting more vintage cards. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll see that I'm all about first edition holographic cards. For me personally, these are super nostalgic because I always wanted them as a kid. I don't really care about modern Pokemon anymore. Vintage is where it's at for me. And thank you, scalpers, for ruining modern for me, but also thank you, scalpers, for helping me rediscover my love of vintage Pokemon cards. Now, the problem with selling Pokemon cards right now is that most of the selling platforms are a nightmare to deal with. eBay and Marketplace are both full of scammers who just want to rip you off for your cards. Heck, if you watch other PokeTubers, you will have seen that two creators I watch a lot both got hit by a nasty chargeback scam. Both ShinyVert and PokeVault got hit by the same scamming scumbag. So I was understandably nervous when looking to sell my cards. I've tried to sell some stuff on Facebook Marketplace and, well, pretty much I got spammed with obvious fake account and lowball offers. It was pretty much a waste of time and I'm a busy dude. So that's what led me to look at alternative ways to sell cards I don't want anymore. And I had actually heard of PWCC, now known as Fanatics, before through Box.gg. A lot of the slabs on Box.gg are actually fulfilled by Fanatics Collect. And no, this is not a sponsored video by Boxed or Fanatics, but I'll put my Box.gg affiliate code up top just in case anyone wants to try it. Check out some of my other videos if you're interested in Boxed. So how does selling on Fanatics Collect work? For people who know a bit about Fanatics, you can skip this part. First, to sell anything on Fanatics, you need to have an account. And basically send the items you want to sell to your account, aka your vault. Fanatics holds the items in their secure vault facility until you sell them. It's pretty simple, actually. The basic process to get your cards vaulted and ready for sale is to create a submission, print the packing slip they give you that has a submission number on it, put it in the box, pack up your cards with that packing slip inside, and ship it to your vault address. You can find your vault address also on the form itself and on your Fanatics account. Once your items are vaulted and scanned, you can either list them as buy it now or put them into one of their weekly auctions. That's the basic process. But definitely read through the Fanatics Collect website, frequently asked questions, and documentation to get all the details. Now, I did mostly buy it now sales once my slabs were vaulted. And maybe if this video helps people, I'll make a full Fanatics Collect selling tutorial video for Pokemon people. Let me know in the comments if you think I should do that. So like I said earlier, I've sold about 20 cards on Fanatics, and there's about 40 other cards up for sale right now. Now it's time to talk about the good of the experience, the bad, and I'll give Fanatics a letter grade, kind of like what I've done with other videos. Starting off with the good, pretty much everything I sold on Fanatics was at market value at the time of sale, or was really close. In my experience, that's quite a bit better than trying to sell on Marketplace, or to sell to like a local game store or something like that. I also really like the fact that Fanatics handles shipping and fulfillment. I've seen horror stories of eBay sellers getting ripped off by buyer scams, chargeback scams, and all kinds of stuff. Thankfully, I haven't had any issues with buyer scams selling on Fanatics, yet. I put this in the barely positive good column. Support is actually pretty responsive once you get past the customer service bot to a real person. Essentially, just nag the bot until they give you to a human being if you have a question. So I reached out for my biggest submission since it was after the holidays when I sent it, and I wanted to confirm they actually had it. After all, there was about $20,000 worth of slabs in that box. Once I got past the support bot, I actually heard from a real person within 24 hours that confirmed the package was received and in queue for vault curation. So I put that in the barely good category because ideally you'd like to talk to a real person before a bot. So let's talk about the bad stuff here, okay? So the basic seller's fee for buy it now is 6% if the price you're selling at is somewhere near the market price. I guess Fanatics has got to make their money. Again, for me, this is kind of offset by the fact that Fanatics handles the fulfillment and shipping once your things sell from your vault, so it's kind of worth it in my opinion. What gets confusing and tricky though is if you want to sell something like a high demand card above market value, they actually charge 12% instead of 6% seller fees. You need to watch out for this. So the next bad thing is vaulting can be slow as hell. Vaulting feels like it takes forever. So I shipped all 3 of my submissions out, about 60 cards overall, all using the same method. But sometimes a submission would take 1 to 2 weeks to be curated into my vault. Maybe if someone from Fanatics watches this video, they can give us some insights into their process. I'd love to learn more what goes into actually vaulting cards once they receive them. So another bad thing is sometimes the card ladder values, aka the suggested selling price that you get on Fanatics, don't reflect reality. Not really a Fanatics problem, but it does impact your seller fees, so it is kind of a Fanatics problem. So what I did is I actually cross-checked prices on Fanatics against my collector app just to see, are they reasonable? Is this actually, somewhat accurate? You could also look at like eBay last sold, whatever method you want to do to comp your cards. I found the payment process once you've sold something somewhat confusing. So some sales I got the money on my Fanatics account after a day or two, and some took almost a week to post. Part of this is due to how they handle payments from buyers. I had one big card stuck in waiting for payment for almost a week. I was getting really nervous about that because, it said sold but awaiting payment, and my card's off the market, so nobody else can buy it. My best guess is maybe that buyer's payment was still pending with their bank or something, but who knows. I'll add one last neutral, not good, not bad comment. I did sell one card at auction. Admittedly, selling the card in the weekly auction was pretty fun to watch the bids go up over time, but it actually closed at around 80% market value. And it was an Evolving Skies PSA 10, so that kind of sucked. I do think the auctions are a lot of fun, but they're also really risky if you care about selling at market price. For comparison, most of my other stuff sold around 100% of market value, if not really close to that, leaving me about 94% after the 6% seller's fee. A few cards actually went for over market too. So overall, I like Fanatics as a selling platform for Pokemon cards. I think it works well if you have some patience, and for someone as busy as I am, it's a better option than wading into the mess of scams that is eBay or Facebook Marketplace. So let me know what you think of Fanatics and tell me in the comments how your experience with them has been. So here it is, my final letter grade assessment of selling cards on Fanatics. I give them a B+. If you're watching this video in 2026 and it's before March 1st, go watch this video too. I'm doing a big vintage slab giveaway on this one. But to conclude my thoughts on Fanatics Collect, I will say the experience with selling has been surprisingly smooth. Sometimes vaulting and payment are slow, but I'm pretty patient and I always got my money. If Fanatics sped up their vaulting process, then I would give them an A grade hands down. Let me know what you think of Fanatics Collect in the comments, folks. Have you sold anything on there? Tell me about it. I'll also drop an update video if I need to change my letter grade for some reason. Like I said, I still have about 40 cards listed for sale on the platform, and I plan on actually sending a few more in. Subscribe for more Pokemon content, and thanks for watching, folks.